Rain poured over the city in silver sheets as I stepped out of the taxi and into the glowing entrance of the hotel. My heels clicked against the marble floor while thunder rumbled somewhere far above the skyline. After 3 exhausting days at a business conference, all I wanted was a hot shower, silence, and sleep. The lobby was warm, elegant, almost too perfect. Soft piano music played in the background while guests moved around with quiet sophistication. I barely noticed any of it. My body ached from long meetings and fake smiles. "Checking in?" the receptionist asked politely. I nodded, sliding my ID across the counter. A few minutes later, she handed me a key card with an apologetic smile. "We upgraded your room due to availability issues. Suite 1708. "Thank you," I murmured. The elevator ride felt endless. I leaned against the mirrored wall, staring at my tired reflection. Something about the night felt strange already. Too quiet, too heavy. Maybe it was the storm. Maybe it was exhaustion. Or maybe it was something else entirely. When the elevator doors opened onto the 17th floor, the hallway was nearly empty. Dim golden lights reflected off dark polished walls, and the distant sound of rain echoed faintly through the building. Room 1708 sat at the very end of the corridor. I slipped the card into the lock. The light turned green. At first, I thought the hotel had made a mistake. The room lights were already on. I pushed the door open slowly, confused. And then I saw him, standing near the window with a glass in his hand. For one impossible second, neither of us moved. My breath caught so sharply it hurt. No, it couldn't be him. But it was. Older, sharper, more serious than I remembered. Yet unmistakably the same man I had once loved with everything I had. The same man I had disappeared from 6 years ago without explanation. His eyes widened slowly in disbelief, and then something even more dangerous appeared in them. Recognition. The glass in his hand lowered slightly. "Emma?" Hearing my name in his voice after all these years sent a shock through my chest. I should have left immediately. I should have apologized for the mistake and walked away, but I couldn't move. Because suddenly, all the memories I had buried so carefully came rushing back at once. The late nights, the laughter, the heartbreak, the goodbye I never truly explained. The storm outside crashed louder against the windows. Inside the room, silence wrapped tightly around us. Then he took one slow step closer and quietly said the one thing I never expected to hear again. "I wondered if I'd ever see you." The sound of my heartbeat filled the silence between us. For a moment, neither of us moved. The room suddenly felt too small, too warm, too full of memories I had spent years trying to bury. Rain tapped against the tall windows behind him, while the city lights flickered across his face. He looked different now, more mature, more guarded, but his eyes were exactly the same. And that was the dangerous part. "I think there's been a mistake with the room," I said quickly, finally finding my voice. But even as I spoke, it sounded weak, because we both knew this moment felt bigger than coincidence. He gave a small, almost disbelieving laugh. "6 years?" he murmured. "And this is how you come back into my life?" I looked away immediately. Back then, leaving him had shattered me too. But staying would have destroyed us both. Or at least that's what I convinced myself. "I didn't come here for this," I whispered. "No," he said quietly. "You usually leave before explanations happen." The words hit harder than I expected. Pain flickered between us instantly, old and unresolved. I tightened my grip on my suitcase handle. I should go. But before I could move, thunder cracked loudly outside, and the lights in the room flickered once, then again. He glanced toward the storm outside the window. "Good luck finding another room tonight. The hotel's packed because of the conference." I hated that he was probably right. The tension between us deepened as silence settled again. Then his phone buzzed on the table beside him. He looked at the screen, and his expression changed instantly. Not surprise, concern, almost fear. Before I could ask what was wrong, he locked the phone quickly and looked back at me. But this time, something in his eyes felt different. Like my unexpected arrival wasn't the only problem waiting inside that hotel room. The storm outside grew worse by the minute. Rain slammed against the windows, while distant thunder shook the glass, trapping us inside the suite together like the night itself refused to let either of us leave. I stood near the doorway, unsure whether to stay or run, while he poured another drink with hands that looked calmer than his eyes. Neither of us knew how to act around the other anymore. "You can take the bedroom," he said quietly. "I'll stay out here." "That's not necessary," I replied. But the truth was, the distance between us already felt dangerous enough. I sat carefully on the edge of the couch while silence settled again. It wasn't empty silence. It was crowded with memories, regrets, and questions neither of us wanted to ask first. Then his phone buzzed again. This time I noticed the name on the screen before he turned it over. Unknown caller. His jaw tightened immediately. "You're nervous," I said softly. He looked toward the rain-covered window instead of me. "Some things don't stay buried forever." The way he said it made my stomach tighten. "What does that mean?" He hesitated, then finally looked at me. "After you disappeared," he said slowly, "I started asking questions about why you left, about what really happened." A chill ran through me. "What are you talking about?" "There were things you never told me," he continued quietly, "and someone made sure I believed you wanted to leave." My breath caught. The room suddenly felt colder. "Who?" Before he could answer, a loud knock echoed through the hotel room. 3 slow knocks. Not housekeeping. Not polite. Intentional. His expression darkened instantly. And when he looked at the door, I realized something terrifying. Whoever was outside, he was expecting them. The knocking came again. 3 slow, deliberate hits against the door. My pulse pounded so hard I could hear it in my ears. Across the room, he stood completely still, his eyes fixed on the entrance like he already knew who was waiting outside. "You're not going to answer?" I whispered. He didn't respond immediately. Instead, he walked toward the door cautiously and checked the peephole. The moment he looked through it, something in his expression tightened. Not surprise. Recognition. Then he stepped back. "Stay here," he said quietly. Fear crawled through my chest. "Who is it?" Still no answer. He opened the door only halfway, enough to block most of the room from view. I couldn't see the person outside clearly, but I heard a man's voice, low and tense. "She's here, isn't she?" Every muscle in my body froze. My eyes snapped toward him. He glanced back at me briefly before stepping into the hallway and pulling the door nearly shut behind him. Their voices became muffled, but I caught pieces of the conversation through the silence of the suite. "You shouldn't have contacted me. She deserves the truth. You have no idea what it cost." My heart raced faster. Truth? What truth? Unable to stop myself, I moved closer to the door. The hallway conversation suddenly grew sharper. "She never left you willingly," the stranger said. I stopped breathing. The words hit me like ice water. "What are you talking about?" I whispered to myself. Then came the sentence that shattered everything I thought I knew about the past. "Your brother paid her to disappear." The room spun. I stepped backward slowly, unable to process what I had just heard. My mind searched desperately for another explanation, another meaning, but there wasn't one. 6 years ago, his brother had told me he would destroy his future if I stayed, that I would ruin his career, his family, everything he had worked for. I was young, scared, and in love enough to believe leaving would protect him. And all this time, he never knew. The hotel room door opened again. He stepped back inside slowly, his face pale, eyes filled with the same shock breaking apart inside me. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then he looked at me and whispered the words that hurt more than the goodbye itself. "You loved me enough to leave." A tear slipped down my face, "and you hated me for it." Morning arrived quietly. The storm had passed during the night, leaving soft gray light spilling through the hotel windows. The city below looked calm again, untouched by the chaos that had unfolded inside room 1708. But neither of us had slept. We sat across from each other in silence, two people separated by years of misunderstanding and one devastating truth that had changed everything overnight. For the first time in 6 years, there were no lies between us, only pain. "I kept thinking you stopped loving me," he said softly, staring down at the untouched coffee in his hands. "That's what destroyed me the most." My chest tightened painfully. "I thought leaving was protecting you," I whispered. "Your brother made me believe I was ruining your future." He shook his head slowly, disbelief and heartbreak mixing in his expression. "You were my future." The words broke something inside me. Tears slipped down my face before I could stop them. All those years apart, all the anger, loneliness, and unanswered questions had been built on manipulation neither of us understood until now. He moved closer carefully, like I might disappear again if he moved too fast. "You should have trusted me," he whispered. "I know." Silence settled between us again, softer this time. Not empty. Healing. Then his phone buzzed once more on the table beside him. Both of us froze instantly. He picked it up slowly, glanced at the screen, and his expression darkened. "What is it?" I asked quietly. He looked at me for a long moment before answering. "My brother knows we talked." A cold chill ran through me. Outside, sunlight filled the city. But suddenly, the room felt darker than ever. Because some secrets don't end when the truth comes out. Sometimes, that's when the real danger begins.